I just want to understand kind of where your mindset is here. So you're seeing things happening out in the universe, particularly in the country.
Yeah.
You're sort of cross-referencing what you see your friends going through, right? As police officers. You recognize the connection between fitness, let's just say a strong physical presence, right?
Yeah.
And also your ability to move, right? Your ability to recover. There's power, strength. You're a coach at this point, so you got power, strength, mobility, flexibility, endurance, speed, agility components. You're seeing how this all kind of fits in together, and you're worried. You're worried that at some level, all of this stuff is going to come together. And are you prepared?
Yeah.
Is that
so for me personally, I definitely was thinking about preparedness. For sure. That's like how I started like following Fieldcraft and stuff like that.
Look, man, I think this is very, very valid. I've found myself in a very similar situation where over like a 72 hour, whatever it was, 96 hour period, our country went through some real shit. And it trickled over into a lot of metropolitan areas, and it trickled into our downtown San Jose area. Well, I live downtown, and the epicenter kind of what was happening there was right about 2 miles from here. So initially it was, well, that's a little far away, but it's not really. It's literally kind of happening down the street, and it was live on the news, and you're seeing all these pictures, and it was horrific. Wow, our society, our nation, our citizens, we're in a really rough spot right now. This is really hard to watch. For me, it was very sad. I was seeing what was happening on TV, what happened with, again, George Floyd and how it came to be. And obviously the death, the sorrow, the anger, all the things that were happening in the communities, and then how it escalated was, as an American citizen, right? And as an American, and as a guy who wants to try and be understanding of all the pieces to this puzzle. Like for me, it wasn't one-sided at all. It was like, there's no right, there's no wrong here. This is all just messed up. And how did we get here? But then to watch it spill over, right, and start to manifest down just a couple of miles from the house, I was watching the TV going, this is a little, I'm scared. Like, I'm sitting there with my family, I've got both my daughters actually, and my partner sitting there watching the TV, and I'm scratching my head, and it's starting to escalate. And we're watching the police department here, who's sort of handling things fairly quickly and decisively. I want to give my hats off actually to San Jose PD and the sheriff's office here in Santa Clara County for how they handled them things. I know they've faced a lot of criticism, and I'm just going to be upfront about this. I'm very pro police, and they're faced with a very tough situation. And when people are lighting shit on fire and trying to burn down businesses and break into businesses and things, it's a very tough situation. That's something you got to deal with every day. And they more or less kind of eradicated that issue pretty fast. But in their eradication efforts, what that ended up happening was they started pushing people out, right? That was the thing. It's like, we got to disperse these people. Well, they started coming down the street. Well, City Hall I'm on the same street as City Hall, right? And so I was watching literally on TV, Skycam, whatever the hell it was. Like, I'm going, oh my God, all these angry people are moving.
You had it way worse than me, and I was probably thinking crazier shit.
They're moving towards my business, right? So, as a business owner and as a guy, so I'm 47 years old. I remember vividly April 29th, 1992. I know exactly where I was. I know exactly what was going on when just following the Rodney King trial, the riots broke out in LA. I was sitting in front of the TV, and I remember that vividly. Because it was happening in neighborhoods where I had family members living, and the things that were going on down there, and the chaos that was created, and watching businesses being burned down, being looted, citizens that had worked their whole lives, that had families that owned businesses. And I was watching essentially that very thing happen again. And I think a lot of people that were watching TV, they don't remember that, or they weren't exposed to it. It was very real to me. And I was going, I remember this. And this went on for days and days and days. And I remember how the police departments, right, the law enforcement felt almost, they were outnumbered. And they almost felt inept. They were showing up on scene, and these guys had more weapons than they did, right? They had more firepower. They were outnumbered. It was just a horrible situation. But to that point, businesses were being burned down, and my life is the business. Like that's how I put food on the table. It's everything I'd poured my life into for, the previous 10 years. And I felt a real need to be here to secure my business, much like I watched those citizens, particularly Asian Americans in parts of LA, Long Beach, South Central.
Asians.
Right. I mean, there's people play on that. Like, where did the term rooftop Asians came from? It came from there.
Yeah.
Right. And them having to stand up as a community and protect their businesses. So I quickly gathered what I felt I needed to do to protect myself and my business. And I came down here.
Got real, dude.
And I camped out in my lobby with the lights on.
I don't blame you, man.
And whereas everybody else was like trying to exit the area, I was like, that's not the choice I'm going to make. So look, I don't think you're crazy for feeling that. Like, I don't think it's weird. I think a lot of people felt that way. And I think those of us that take personal responsibility for our possessions, our own personal safety, and we're our own first responders, in a sense, when the rest of the first responders out there are busy tackling other fucking issues. Nobody's coming as the Instagram, background music or saying, nobody's coming.
Yeah.
And if they do, it's going to be a bit. So what are you going to do in the meantime? I was there. I was right there with you, man. I was sitting in the lobby and
then there's like the stuff that the news doesn't show you. You're seeing like real footage of like weird stuff and like just in terms of like what was happening like in Seattle?
Oh no, Portland.
Portland.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of like weird like videos and photos and stuff I was seeing, friends that have been out there and like, dude, I have no idea how they're not putting this on the news. And so after me hearing that, I'm like, I don't even know how close anything is, how crazy anything is. Dude, I was getting really scared, just to be honest, thinking about my family and stuff. And I was also getting really frustrated with my friends that were like law enforcement because I'm just like, you fucking guys are on Instagram posting that you're drinking again, partying again. And you guys are like...
You're the first responder.
You're the first responder, right. Dude. Like, it was really bothering me because I'm like, not only was I in better shape than you, but it only took me so many months to become a better shooter than you. Not that I'm some absolutely amazing shooter. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that like, if you apply yourself and take your fucking job seriously and you're a professional, and I'm not shitting on people or anything like that. Cause like I said, I couldn't deal with half the shit my friends have told me they've dealt with. You know what I mean? I couldn't.
You know that, yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm saying you still signed up for that job. So to a certain extent, there's things that come with it, like firearms training,
there's
physical fitness, things like that. That is part of it.
And just because you're not being tested on it all the time doesn't mean you should be you shouldn't be accountable to it.
Especially when you have a family, especially when you have to go home to people. You know what I mean? So that stuff was like really bothering me. And so I was kind of just thinking in my head, like what I do, what I want to do in terms of fitness, preparedness. I started thinking about preparedness way more than ever because of all this.